I'm just checking the time. All right, it got more. All right, and they were like, no, 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 this is what happened. And I was like, what's going on? How come no one's looking me in the eye? And how come everyone's ignoring me? And it's making me feel so like not safe here. And I'm really thinking about calling the police because I don't like to be made to feel this way at work. And the little Mexican girl was like, "Oh no, no, no! This is what happened. This is what happened. Da, 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 da. Don't call the police." And I was like, "What's going on? Why is everyone ignoring me?" And she basically just said some stuff to me, and I was like, "Okay, okay, okay." So like, basically, is have you ever have you ever been made to feel like white guilt? Like, that's the best example I can give is just like you're at work and you just know that everyone got together behind your back and talked about you, and they were like, let's treat John this way like this tomorrow just to see how he acts. And I think that kind of stuff is so criminal, and it's stuff that can only happen in America. To like, it was my very first job. It was at a fast food joint, and I was like, all the minorities here are so creepy. The way they like come to America, and they think they're a hot shot, and they can, like, they think they're a lot white people because they watch like TV shows and stuff, and they learn our language, da da da. But they didn't go to school here, like in elementary school. They just come here when they're like when they're done with high school, or their mom comes here when she's like in her 35s, and they think they can treat all the little white kids a certain way just because like they see like they just see things on the internet that like turns them on, and they think you we like all want to be little actors. And just that thing over and over when Simon was like, oh, Diana DeGarmo, I think you're so affected by Disney, affected by Disney Channel, affected by music, affected by Survivor, all this crap that all these international people think about American kids all the time. And they come to America and they pick on us. It's weird. And, here, everyone's really nice. Like, I guess when an American lot leaves and they go, like, to a different country, like, all the foreign are, like, really nice. And then, but basically, white guilt is when you feel sorry for them because they're treating you a certain way and making you feel as if you're weird or like crazy or something. And it's even worse when a whole group of people do it to you and they all like strategize together just to see your reaction and stuff. So, like, if I can sum up white guilt in like a definition or like one word, it's just basically like everyone's such a liar. Like LIER in all lowercase. Everyone's such a liar, and they're so fake, and they just want to make you feel bad, pretty much, using whatever tactic they can do. Like, I notice it online, even with my friends, even when they're joking, and it's like guys getting jabs in on each other, and they always try to make you feel as if you're weird, or you don't belong, or you're like excluded from the group in that moment, or something like that. And then I have no idea why people are like this. And as soon as I see it online, they're like, oh, I read this comment. It doesn't even have to be directly about the person. They're like, I read this comment and it hurt my feelings. So I'm gonna keep repeating this line over and over on the internet because I want to hurt everyone's feelings. I'm such a mean person. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, wow. And then you meet them in person and they're weak little weakling. And like Indian man, and then you're just like so tall, and you're like, what is up with you? Like, is you on the computer all day. Like, seriously. And they act so weird in public. Like, computer people act so weird in public. And then I don't do the Filipino thing where it's like, oh, so you came to the restaurant because you're hungry. I just kind of like take their order and I really don't care. Sometimes I'm in a bad mood. Sometimes I'm in a good mood. If I'm in a good mood, I just do my like, hey, how are you? How are you? How's your life? You know, like, I notice you buy a lot of food. Like, do your kids like the food? Does your husband like the burrito? And she's like, oh my God, like, oh, last time it was good and I want the exact same order. She's like, oh, we didn't like the something. And I'm like, okay, the something like the nachos. And then I'm like, okay, do you want to try it again? Or do you want to like change it up, you know? Or like if I'm in a bad mood, I'm totally unsmiling. And I don't even notice. You're like, why aren't you smiling? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I so forgot. And then they're like, is he okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to say fine. I'm like, I'm good. And then I was thinking about this one thing. It was, everyone thinks white guilt is like, oh, you would never call ugly someone to their face, even though everyone in the whole world is just like, this person is a fuggo. And then me, it's usually like, it's like two white women, and then she comes in, it's like her coworker or her sister, and she's like, hey John, how are you? I was like, hey, what's up? And then, or I wouldn't say that at Chip Chipotle. I was just like, hey. And then she was like, my sister's not feeling good. Like, can you cheer her up? And I was like, okay, I'll try. And then she comes up to me and she starts talking, and then she's just like, oh, like, do you think I look good today or something? She's just like, do you think I look good today? And I was like, you know, I was like, let me take a good look at you. I was like, you don't have to spin around, but you can if you want to. And she does a spin, like, counterclockwise to the left. And then I'm like, to be honest, if I'm being 100% truly honest, I was like, you don't look good today. I'm just like, you don't look good today. And I'm like, you know, what's wrong? And she's like, what do you think is wrong with me? And I'm like, did you just get out of the wrong side of the bed today? Or I'm all like, remember, always get out on the right side of the bed. You know, ibig sabihin, like, always get out on the right side of the bed. Ibig sabihin ng mga tao is like, so your favorite way to get out of bed, get out of it. I was like, no, get out on the right side of the bed. You know, like the right. Like, wake up, like, work to the right, put your feet down and get up. I noticed even my parents, they don't corner the bed. You know, they always have a little bit of space on the right side. I was like, get out on the right side of the bed. You know, I was like, did you get out on the left side today? I would never say that to a mom. Like, that's like a joke between me and my white boys. It's just like, did you get up, like, and like go straight up the bed? And like, you know, like you get up and you scoot your butt all the way down up front. And I'm like, did you get up out of bed that way today? And then they're like, oh my God, John is so American and he knows everything about how you should act like. And I'm like, well, didn't you guys read all that stuff like when you were younger? Just like the best one, the one I was thinking about is, I don't know, it starts with an H. I forgot what exactly it was. I was thinking about earlier. It was, I can't think of it right now, but I'll think about it as I'm talking. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, they're all like, oh, so you think white guilt is like, you wouldn't call someone ugly to their face. But me, I guess I kind of do. I mean, I don't directly say I think you look ugly today. I would probably say just like, oh, did you get up out of the wrong side of the bed today or something? And I'm like, you know, that has an effect on someone. Like, oh, it's always like, always do the right thing, or honesty is the best policy. That was the H one I was thinking about. Honesty is the best policy, because like, even if you tell little white lies, you know that's wrong. Don't you? You know telling little white lies is wrong, and honesty is the best policy. You know, be honest with your parents, be honest to yourself, to God, you know, Be honest to the police, because that has an effect on you and how you feel in your mind and like your heart and your gut and your feeling in your hair. Everyone's all like, I do admit, like, sometimes white mom would ask me at work, and she's like, "Do you still tell little white lies?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." If she asks me in that way, in that manner, I'm gonna answer in that way, in that manner. If she's like, "Do you still tell little white lies?" I'll be like, "Yes, of course." And I'm like, "Wait, wait, wait." But I'm like, honesty is the best policy. And I'm like, I would never tell you you're ugly to your face, but like, you know. And she's like, "Okay, okay." You get everything out. Alright, I have 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And then, so what is this video about? It's like, it's about white guilt. Main topic is white guilt. And basically, people making you feel bad, and you feel sorry for them, that they're so dishonest, they're so ugly, they're such a liar, liar, and people like, I wanna, and then they're like, it's about little white lies. Honesty is the best policy. And just basically, like, if you're at work and you feel so awkward, go up to them and be like, "Are you gonna fire me?" Just to see what they say. Just act that way. I didn't learn it from anywhere. It's like, if you get that feeling, just be honest with yourself and to them, and just be like, "Are you gonna fire me?" Just do it. It makes people feel so weird and they scramble. And you're like, just be honest and be like, "I get such a bad vibe here today. It makes me feel uncomfortable, and I feel like calling 911, and I feel like calling the police, because I don't want or like to be made to feel that way at work, where I work. This is my work, This is my work." And I noticed, like, yeah. And they all run around like little rats. They do at work in America. They all run around like little rats at work. And they're like, "Oh my god, King Cockroach is here."